A pallor hung over Crestwood Park, a forgotten space in an otherwise bustling town, where the sun's descent cast long shadows and a chill seeped through the air, promising more than just nightfall. The trees, once a vibrant green, now twisted grotesquely against the twilight, their bark peeling like sunburned skin, and limbs reaching toward the dimming sky as if in mute plea. The gloaming brought with it an unsettling silence, a serene facade that concealed the undercurrents of something amiss, a discord lurking beneath the surface. Julian Fox had taken to wandering these woods following the demise of his mother, the weight of her passing lingering like a fog that refused to lift. It was here he sought solace, hoping nature would compensate for the vacuum in his life. But as he ambled deeper into the country, he couldn't shake the notion that the woods had grown disquieting since his childhood. Swathes of nightshade had sown themselves into once familiar paths, and whispers brushed against his ears like forgotten memories. More often than not, he stumbled upon peculiar shapes concealed behind bushes and the odd, reflective gleam of unsettling eyes hidden among the underbrush. One evening, as dusk bled uncertainty into the waning light, Julian found himself on a trail he hadn't noticed before. It beckoned, not with the warmth of nostalgia, but with the chilling thrill of the unknown. He followed the narrow path as it twisted through gnarled trees that seemed to lean inwards, forming an archway, as if to guard what lay beyond. An unsettling harmony hummed around him, a rhythm that echoed in his bones, and soon he arrived at a clearing he had never seen, a wide expanse devoid of life, where grass grew in a mocking circle, thick as the crust on ancient bread. In the center of that barren ground, something foreign thrummed with an allure that pulled at him, a nexus of iridescent light swirling and pulsating, snaking toward the sky, luminous filaments of energy, hungry and inviting. Crouching down, Julian reached out to touch the light, not with delight, but with an insatiable curiosity steeped in desperation. As his fingers danced within reach, a piercing scream vibrated through the air, echoing not from his throat, but resonating from the very ground, a cacophony that shattered the fragile stillness of the park. With that sound, something lurched within his consciousness, distorting reality so that the edge of existence frayed before him, revealing the underpinnings of truth. The very roots of the earth groaned, and the world tilted at a maddening angle. Dread settled deep in his gut, writhing like a snake, and as he stood there frozen, an image unfurled in his mind. The glimpse of a vast two-eyed entity lying in wait, its head dwarfed by the universe wherein it coiled and slumbered. Dreams belched forth, turning to nightmares that glistened like opals strewn across its jagged skin. Days passed where nothing felt the same. Julian returned from the woods, not to the life he had once known, but instead to a surreal existence filled with hollow echoes and shadows that followed in tandem. He developed a keen awareness of his surroundings, a perception that made mundane objects pulse with imperceptible energies. There was something watching him, he was sure of it, something that felt closer to a consciousness than a spectral presence. His nights became plagued with dreams of vast voids, bottomless pits where a singular figure floated, its many eyes observing all that swirled about it. He wandered through dimensions unknown, glimpsing eternity unraveling like a knitting gone awry. It was a hunger he could not comprehend, a longing that seeped into his veins, reminding him that he was alone, yet not alone. Each day forward bore an incessant weight, a pressure increasing until every pulse felt like the throb of the cosmos vying for attention. Voices called to him, whispering sweet nothings that clawed through the depths of his mind, cryptic promises of knowledge beyond measure, of awakening unfathomable truths, bestowed only in exchange for a fragment of himself. What he didn't understand was that the lines between self and universe had begun to blur until reality itself transformed into a semblance of a dream, reflected sideways in shimmering water where meanings shattered like glass. His colleagues at the university eyed him warily. His theories on ancient civilizations became fevered rants about celestial beings and prophetic messages intercepted in the fabric of time. Each day, they sent him home with pitying glimpses, laughter that danced just beyond the threshold of his understanding. But then, one evening as he sat at the edge of his weariness, staring out toward the unseen cosmos through the window of his dim room, he caught a glimpse of something odd flitting across the sky. Celestial bodies blinked oddly, as if ordering themselves into patterns that felt horrifically reminiscent of the visions he could not escape. He felt his heart race. This was no ordinary occurrence. The lights coalesced and then dispersed, revealing shadows that flickered too close, just out of reach of his waking eyes. Julian's spiraling paranoia became tyrannical. He boarded himself in his apartment, barricading the doors, whispering mantras against the mouths of madness. Yet, no amount of sanity reclaimed would dislodge the vision of a writhing, starlit silhouette approaching. In the dead of night, he could feel the vibrations against the walls, a tremor that synced with his panicking heart. Each pulse troubled his mind, echoing sinister truths among the cracks of reality. Determined to confront this energy, he returned to Crestwood Park for the last time. This sacrificial journey felt like the only recourse he had left, a rendezvous destined to unveil the cryptic fulfillment of his growing dread. The night enveloped him, thick and feral, whispering promises of an end that wasn't an end at all, but a merging, a blending of the self with the cosmos. When he arrived, the clearing appeared more vivid, drenched in bioluminescence that draped over the grass like heavy velvet. The center throbbed not only with light but began to hum, a resonant frequency that brought forth an understanding that maybe he was always meant to be here, that the entity had been reaching for him long before he grasped its immensity. Closer he drew, the confines of his human shell feeling ever more restrictive, an appendage destined to break apart from its former self and join the infinite. As he touched the light, when the moment came for him to tear himself apart, the ripples of energy swelled and erupted, encasing him in a cacophony of unfathomable existence. Julian felt the pull of something vast and incomprehensible nestle deep within his essence. Thoughts of human existence faded into echoes, drowned under the river of stars, and the knowledge surged through him, cryptic truths weaving themselves deep within his psyche as they poured like honey over a wound. There was no more him, no remnants of autonomy, only the laughter of the entity that now fused with him, a moist and worm-like existence hugging the depths of the void. Yet in this joining, there lay an unsettling void. The knowledge bestowed felt monstrous, unwieldy, the very fabric of his sanity tattered and stretched into an infinity of despair. He had become a mere conduit, an observer in a cosmic theater where unfathomable horrors flitted past his new senses. The loneliness was profound, an anguish deeper than oceans, as the entity, now both him and not him, witnessed across countless dimensions, each haunted by the shadow of its own birth. As dawn broke over Crestwood Park, the trees twisted in whispered secrets, and Julian was lost, an echo of a man swallowed by the yawning maw of existence, a tether severed, floating through the darkening void, lost to the stillness of unspeakable knowledge. Among the shadows at the edge of the park, whispers danced on the wind, a warning to those who tread too close and gaze too long into the abyss of the unknowable, as the alien presence lingered, waiting patiently for the next enthralled soul to glimpse eternity and plunge willingly into the waiting dark.